Hello everyone, Joel here. We have talked around upcoming games for quite a while, and I realized that we haven't discussed specifically about RPGs that were already released as a whole. Seeing that we're often talking about specific subgenres, why don't we talk about some of the best RPGs of 2026 that you can play right now? And since there are lots of new RPG games that stormed the market, this video will act as the part 1 of the series. Before we go into the list, I want to give you my recommendation for some of the best deals in instant gaming right now, especially if you're tight on budget. We knew that instant gaming always give us so many crazy deals for your favorite games, like these titles for example. I mean, can you believe these prices? If you love RPGs, there's no way you never heard of these masterpieces, and to think that you can get them under $10 or even $5, it's an absolute steal. All you have to do is just click my link in the description below, start searching for your favorite games and use the activation code on your chosen platform. By using my link, you're not only saving tons of money, but also helping me to support this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list. Starsand Island delivers a broad life simulation that confidently blends farming, fishing, crafting, animal care, and light exploration into a cohesive island routine. Its flexible career system encourages players to move freely between vocations, with quests that steadily unlock tools, blueprints, and upgrades. Farming feels responsive thanks to soil management and fast-acting fertilizers, while fishing expands into profitable ocean regions. Exploration in the moonlit forest adds combat and resource gathering, though it is less engaging than the domestic pursuits. Strong customization, vehicles, romance options, and a vibrant, well-designed island elevate the experience, even as minor control issues and early access rough edges remain. Sector Unknown is a deliberate throwback to late 1990s computer RPG design, prioritizing systemic depth and player agency over cinematic presentation. Set on a fractured frontier planet shaped by scarcity and factional conflict, its narrative unfolds through dense dialogue, item descriptions, and politically charged interactions. Combat runs on a strict action point system where positioning, cover, range, and status effects determine survival, and early encounters can be punishing without careful planning. Dialogue checks meaningfully alter quest paths and faction outcomes, strengthening replayability. While newcomers may struggle with its opacity, veterans of classic CRPGs will appreciate its mechanical transparency and uncompromising structure. Labyrinth of Touhou 3 builds directly on the foundation of Labyrinth of Touhou 2, retaining its large roster, demanding boss encounters, and methodical dungeon exploration while shifting its mechanical priorities. On higher difficulties, combat leans heavily into stack-based systems, turn counters, and strict conditional triggers that reward careful sequencing over improvisation. Without the subclass flexibility of its predecessor, character roles feel more rigid, and certain bosses heavily restrict burst strategies. Formation swapping remains present but less dominant, encouraging sustained frontline setups. The result is a denser, more puzzle-oriented experience that sacrifices some freedom for tighter encounter control and sharper strategic constraints. Pathologic 3 transforms its plague-ridden town into a tense, time-looping medical mystery led by Daniil Dankovsky, whose arrogance and fragile mental state shape every decision. Across 12 repeating days, players diagnose layered illnesses, issue civic decrees, and rewind time to correct fatal mistakes. Dialogue choices influence both narrative outcomes and a volatile apathy and mania system that affects movement, health, and temporal currency. Investigations are sharp and often darkly funny, balancing tragedy with absurd consequences. Combat and infected zones feel mechanically thinner, and technical rough edges persist, but the writing, structure, and reactivity create a demanding, memorable experience. Wicked Seed shifts from slow psychological dread into a darker, combat-driven horror RPG centered on private investigator Ella Astor and her search for her missing brother. The narrative gradually exposes Ella's troubled past, adding moral ambiguity that strengthens the later chapters. Enemy variety expands steadily, with aquatic-inspired creatures escalating in difficulty and forcing smarter resource use. Combat can grow repetitive due to limited side interactions, but demanding boss fights, especially the Forid Matron encounter, require planning and multiple attempts. Although the final battle feels mechanically strong yet narratively misplaced, the overall experience remains tense, polished, and impressively confident for an indie release. Utawarerumono Zan 2 adapts the events of Mask of Truth into a faster, combat-driven format that prioritizes immediacy without discarding narrative weight. Developed by Aqua Plus, it refines the original Zan with smoother combo chains, a redesigned skill board, and over 20 playable characters that encourage build variety. The new base system in Enakamui adds progression layers through upgrades and character interactions, while fully animated 3D cutscenes strengthen major story beats. Dream Arena expands replay value with online co-op and challenge missions. It feels more complete, more responsive, and better aligned with the series' dramatic scope. Crimson Capes is a confident fusion of Souls-like combat and Metroidvania structure, delivering precise mechanics within a striking pixel art world. Set in the fractured kingdom of Ambrose, it follows the Crimson Capes Guild as they hunt rogue wizards, framing a morally layered medieval tale. Combat centers on stance breaking and time parries, rewarding discipline over button mashing. 4 playable characters offer distinct styles, supported by meaningful skill trees, combat disciplines, and flexible gear builds. World design encourages exploration with smart enemy AI and demanding bosses. Add cooperative play, invasions, and randomized hunts, and this small studio effort stands as a remarkably polished achievement. Nested Lands is an uncompromising medieval survival RPG that emphasizes settlement control as much as personal endurance. Set in a plague-stricken world, it challenges players to recruit survivors, assign professions, construct specialized buildings, and maintain fragile supply chains under constant threat. Weather systems, hostile factions, and resource scarcity create steady pressure that keeps expansion risky. Combat functions adequately, prioritizing positioning and preparation over spectacle, though it lacks mechanical depth. Cooperative play meaningfully enhances strategic coordination. While biome variety and narrative cohesion remain limited in early access, its management systems provide a strong structural core. Diablo 2 Resurrected Infernal Edition is a careful expansion of a foundational action RPG. Built on Diablo 2 Resurrected and its Lord of Destruction expansion, it introduces the Warlock, the first new class in over 2 decades. With Demon, Eldritch, and Chaos skill paths, the Warlock integrates cleanly into existing balance without eclipsing legacy builds. New rune words, uniques, Terror Zone updates, and the Chronicle system refresh endgame pursuits. Meanwhile, meaningful quality of life upgrades, including a customizable loot filter and improved stash management, modernize the experience while preserving Diablo 2's deliberate combat pacing and enduring tension. Escape from Ever After confidently channels the structure of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, delivering a turn-based RPG built on timing mechanics, companion abilities, and theatrical presentation. The game follows Flynn Buckler and a restrained dragon named Tinder as they dismantle Ever After Incorporated, a corporation exploiting fairy tale worlds. Combat is strategic and engaging, demanding proper attack selection and synergy management, though repetition sets in late. Book-hopping chapters provide variety, even if some concepts feel underused. Strong music, expressive character art, and consistent humor elevate a formula it rarely meaningfully expands.
Injustice, fear, and despair.
Vampire's Fall 2 refines the foundations of its predecessor into a confident 2D open-world RPG built around deliberate turn-based combat and meaningful progression. Developed by Early Morning Studio, it casts players as a newly turned vampire, navigating a civil war where humans and aristocratic bloodlines clash for dominance. Exploration flows seamlessly without loading interruptions, and enemies roam visibly across the map, reinforcing player control over encounters. Combat rewards planning, with every action consuming a turn, while 4 skill trees and diverse weapon types support flexible builds. Optional purchases exist, but the core experience remains mechanically satisfying and content-rich. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined refines one of the series' most divisive entries without losing its identity. Square Enix trims several islands and streamlines progression, reducing bloat while preserving the time travel structure that defines Dragon Quest VII. Combat sees the biggest upgrade, with dual vocations through moonlighting and new let-loose abilities that add turn-by-turn decisions. Exploration benefits from diorama-style visuals and improved pacing, though persistent objective markers limit player freedom. Even with some removed content, this version feels tighter, better balanced, and mechanically stronger, delivering one of the most polished traditional RPG experiences in the franchise. Nihon Falcom delivers an ambitious convergence chapter that unites arcs from across the long-running saga into a dense 100-hour RPG. Splitting focus between Ryan Schwarzer, Kevin, and Van, the narrative weaves political tension, metaphysical twists, and long-awaited character payoffs with remarkable confidence, though it demands deep prior knowledge. Combat blends real-time engagement and turn-based strategy seamlessly, adding awakening skills and expanded link mechanics that make encounters fluid, if occasionally too forgiving. The optional Grim Garden meaningfully enriches lore and progression. Minor technical hiccups and uneven road balance aside, this is a substantial, emotionally charged milestone for dedicated fans. Team Ninja expands its formula into a bold open-world structure without sacrificing the mechanical precision that defines the series. 4 large regions replace mission-based repetition, packed with secrets, enemy strongholds, and layered exploration. The real triumph remains combat with 14 weapon types, deep skill customization, living artifact transformations, and the new style shift system. Splitting samurai and ninja disciplines create remarkable flexibility and expression. Boss design is exceptional, demanding mastery while remaining fair. The world can feel dense and checklist heavy, but fluid performance and relentless combat variety elevate the experience. Developed by Overhyped Studios, MENACE is a punishing squad-based tactics game launching February 5, 2026. Unlike hero-driven titles like XCOM 2, it focuses on squad cohesion, resource scarcity, fatigue, and high-stakes operations. Combat is polished, AI aggressive, and performance impressively stable for early access. Progression feels earned, and the operation system creates meaningful long-term consequences. However, the tutorial is nearly non-existent. There's no mid-mission saving, and the lack of a minimap makes planning frustrating. Demanding yet deeply rewarding, MENACE is ambitious and could become a genre standout.
What? Run! Run for our lives! Leave some for me.
Alright boys, I think that's it for today. I know that there are other new RPGs that I haven't mentioned yet, so how about sharing your favorite RPGs that probably deserve the spot in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video and make sure to subscribe the channel if you don't want to miss another great list. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Peace!